The massive Imperial ship appeared without warning, materializing just beyond Earth's moon. Its dark metal hull stretched over 20 kilometers, dwarfing every human space station in orbit. Admiral Tom Stone stood on the bridge of the EDS Defender, Earth's largest warship, and watched the alien vessel with steady eyes. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, sir," reported Officer James from his communication station. "They're using perfect English. Somehow they've already processed our languages." Stone nodded, his weathered face revealing nothing of his inner thoughts. At 60 years old, he had served in Earth's United Defense Force for 4 decades, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for this moment. "Put them through," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, humanoid figure with pale blue skin and metallic implants decorating its face. The alien wore an elaborate uniform, covered in symbols that Stone assumed indicated high rank. "People of Earth," the alien spoke, its voice carrying an artificial smoothness. "I am High Commander Rex of the Galactic Empire. Your world now falls within our designated expansion zone. We offer you the opportunity to join our glorious empire as a protectorate state." Stone's fingers tightened on his chair's armrest. "This is Admiral Stone of Earth's United Defense Force. We welcome peaceful contact, but we are not interested in becoming a protectorate." The High Commander's expression shifted to what might have been amusement. "You misunderstand, Admiral. This is not a negotiation. Our scans show your technology level is barely a Class 3. You have only a handful of orbital stations, and your weapons are primitive. Resistance would be pointless." As if to emphasize the point, 3 more Imperial ships emerged from whatever faster-than-light system they used. Each one was as large as the first. "Security Council is convening emergency session," James whispered to Stone. "They're linking in now." Stone's screen split to show the faces of Earth's Defense Council, 12 men and women representing Earth's United Military Forces. General Roberts, the head of the council, spoke first. "Admiral Stone, maintain dialogue. We're activating Protocol Omega." Stone allowed himself a small smile. The Empire had made their first mistake, assuming Earth's visible military assets were all that existed. "High Commander," Stone addressed the alien again. "Before you make any decisions, I believe we should meet in person, perhaps on our lunar base. We can discuss terms." The alien commander laughed, a strange, metallic sound. "Very well. It will be good for you to understand the futility of resistance up close. I will bring a delegation to your moon in 2 of your hours." The transmission ended, and Stone immediately turned to his crew. "Begin evacuation of civilian lunar personnel. Move them to the deep shelters, and get me a secure line to underground command." Within minutes, Stone was speaking to the hidden heart of Earth's real military might. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Underground Command had been preparing for this moment for over a century. "All Ghost Fleet units are in position," reported Fleet Commander Wilson from the underwater base. "Stealth systems are holding. The Empire's scans aren't detecting anything below the ocean or on the dark side of the moon. Keep everything hidden," Stone ordered. "Let them think we're primitive. Let them think we're weak." As preparation continued, Stone reviewed the first detailed scans of the Imperial ships. Their technology was impressive. Energy shields, plasma weapons, and artificial gravity. But there were patterns to their design, rigid adherence to certain principles. They were predictable. Stone thought about humanity's long history of warfare, how every new technology had been met with an unexpected counter, how supposedly invincible empires had fallen to determined defenders. The Empire had never fought humans before. They didn't understand what that meant. 2 hours later, Stone stood in the lunar base's main conference room. Through the reinforced windows, he could see Earth hanging like a blue jewel in the black sky. The Imperial delegation would arrive any minute. "All pieces in position," came the whispered update through his earpiece. Humanity's hidden fleets, weapons, and defenses were ready. If the Empire chose war, they would learn why every human schoolchild learned the phrase. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. The doors slid open, and High Commander Rex entered with his delegation. Stone stood straight, his expression neutral. The Empire was about to learn that appearances could be deceiving, especially when dealing with humans. The real question was, would they learn this lesson the easy way or the hard way? The lunar conference room fell silent as Admiral Stone stood up. The Imperial delegation sat across the table, their blue faces showing mild boredom. High Commander Rex tapped his metallic fingers on the table's surface, clearly expecting this to be a simple surrender meeting. "Before we discuss your demands," Stone began, his voice calm and steady, "I want to show you something." He pressed a button on the table's control panel. The room's lights dimmed, and a holographic display filled the center of the room. "This is Earth, 4,000 years ago." The image showed ancient battles, spears, swords, and armies clashing. In just 4,000 years, we went from this. The display changed rapidly, showing the evolution of human warfare. Knights in armor, archers with longbows, the first gunpowder weapons. Rex waved his hand dismissively. "Every species has a history of primitive combat. This means nothing." Stone continued as if he hadn't heard the interruption. The images kept changing. World War I trenches, World War I tanks, modern fighter jets, nuclear submarines. In just the last 100 years, we went from flying primitive aircraft to landing on our moon. Every major war changed how we fight. We adapted. We evolved. One of the Imperial officers, wearing what looked like science insignia, leaned forward slightly. Stone noticed the subtle movement. At least one of them was paying attention. "But here's what you need to understand." Stone's voice grew harder. The hologram showed modern special forces operations, stealth aircraft, cyber warfare centers. We never stopped preparing. We never stopped innovating. Every time someone invented a perfect defense, we found a way around it. Every time someone created an unbeatable weapon, we discovered its weakness. "These toys don't concern us," Rex interrupted. "Our smallest ship could destroy your entire visible fleet." Stone smiled for the first time since the meeting began. Visible fleet. That's an interesting choice of words. He pressed another button. The hologram changed to show underwater bases, hidden mountain fortresses, and orbital platforms that had been completely invisible to Imperial scans. The science officer's eyes widened slightly. Their scans had missed all of this. "Humanity has been preparing for this moment for over a century," Stone continued. "Ever since we first looked at the stars and asked, 'Are we alone?' We knew that someday, someone would come. Someone who thought they could conquer us." The hologram shifted again, showing new images that made several Imperial officers shift uncomfortably in their seats. Experimental weapons, quantum-based defense systems, and AI-driven combat units that no one outside Earth's highest military command had ever seen. "Your empire has never fought humans before," Stone said, his voice growing quieter, more dangerous. "You've never faced an enemy who turned their opponent's strengths against them. You've never fought a species that considered their own history a warning." Rex stood up abruptly, his face showing the first signs of uncertainty. "Are you threatening the Galactic Empire?" "No." Stone shook his head. "I'm trying to save your empire. Because if you force this war, we will fight. And humans." He paused, making eye contact with each member of the Imperial delegation. "Humans don't fight to defend. We fight to win. Completely." The science officer whispered something to Rex, who slowly sat back down. "You have shields that can stop any normal weapon," Stone acknowledged. "So we created abnormal ones. You have unbreakable encryption. So we found ways to fight without needing to break it. You have superior numbers. So we prepared to make numbers meaningless." Stone walked to the window, looking out at Earth. "This is your only warning. Look at our history. Look at how far we came in just 4,000 years. Look at what we did to our own planet learning how to fight. And then ask yourself, Do you really want to be the empire that taught humans how to fight among the stars? The room remained silent for a long moment. Even Rex seemed lost in thought. We're not primitive, Commander Rex. We're contained. There's a difference. Stone turned back to the delegation. So I'll make this very simple. Run. Run back to your empire. Tell them to stay away from Earth. Because if you start this war, we will finish it. And trust me, Stone's eyes hardened. You won't like how we finish things. The warning hung in the air like a physical thing. Through the window, Earth continued its silent rotation, looking peaceful and vulnerable. But now the Imperial delegation understood. Looks could be deceiving, especially when it came to humans. 3 days after Admiral Stone's warning, the Empire made their decision. A fleet of 30 warships emerged from hyperspace near Mars, their silver hulls gleaming in the sunlight. Each ship was a kilometer long, armed with plasma cannons and protected by shields that could withstand nuclear blasts. They chose the hard way, Stone muttered, standing on the bridge of the EDS Defender. He watched the tactical display showing the Imperial fleet's formation. It was perfect, orderly, and completely predictable. All stations report ready, Officer James announced. Ghost Fleet awaits your command. Stone nodded. Send one last message to their commander. The communication screen lit up, showing a different Imperial commander than Rex. This one had more cybernetic implants, his face almost entirely mechanical. I am Battle Master Gall, the Imperial commander announced. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Resist, and we will destroy every orbital facility you possess. Stone's response was simple. We warned you to run. The Imperial ships began their advance. Their formation was flawless, their coordination perfect. By all normal military standards, it was an overwhelming force. Ghost Fleet, execute Pattern Delta, Stone ordered quietly. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The Imperial fleet continued their approach, their sensors showing only Earth's visible defenses, a few orbital stations, and a small fleet of conventional warships. Then the space around Mars rippled. Hidden beneath sophisticated cloaking fields, hundreds of smaller human ships appeared. They were not beautiful like the Imperial vessels. They were dark, angular, and built for one purpose: war. Imperial fleet is launching fighters, James reported. Their shields are at maximum. Let them come, Stone said. Activate the pulse. Across the human fleet, strange devices powered up. They had never been tested in real combat, but simulations had shown their potential. The devices generated quantum fields that ignored traditional shields, disrupting the very space inside their barriers. The first wave of Imperial fighters exploded as their power cores collapsed. The larger ships stumbled in space as their shields flickered and died. Impossible. Battle Master Gall's face showed real fear now. Our shields are perfect. Nothing can penetrate them. You don't understand, Stone replied calmly. We didn't penetrate them. We changed the rules of how they work. The Ghost Fleet struck. Unlike the Empire's perfect formation, human ships attacked from all angles. They moved in seemingly random patterns, each captain making independent decisions based on the situation. It was chaos. Carefully planned, perfectly executed chaos. Imperial ships fired their plasma cannons, but the human vessels were too small, too fast, and too unpredictable. Where the Empire relied on overwhelming force, humans used precision. Where the Empire expected traditional combat, they found themselves fighting shadows. First wave of Imperial ships disabled, James reported. Their weapons are offline. Life support remains functional. Stone watched as his fleet systematically dismantled the Imperial force. No single human ship could match an Imperial warship, but they didn't need to. They fought like Earth's ancient wolf packs, many small hunters taking down larger prey. Battlemaster, Stone addressed the Imperial commander again. Look around you. Your shields are down. Your weapons are useless. Half your fleet is disabled, and we haven't even shown you everything we can do." On the screen, Gaul's mechanical face showed something the Empire had never expected to feel: defeat. "This is impossible," Gaul whispered. "We are the Empire. We cannot be defeated by primitives." "Your mistake," Stone said, "was thinking technology alone wins wars. Humans learned long ago that victory goes to those who adapt, who think differently, who surprise their enemies." The battle was over in less than an hour. Not a single Imperial ship escaped. The Empire's perfect fleet hung motionless in space, their crews alive but their ships powerless. "Send the recovery teams," Stone ordered, "and prepare a message for High Command. Tell them exactly what happened here. Tell them this was just our first line of defense." As human ships began securing the defeated Imperial fleet, Stone thought about what would come next. The Empire wouldn't stop with one defeat. They would come back with a larger force, with new weapons, with different tactics. But that's what humans were counting on. Because every time the Empire attacked, humans would learn. They would adapt. They would get stronger. The Empire's mistake wasn't just attacking Earth. Their mistake was teaching humans how to fight in space. And humans were very, very good students. The Imperial response came 2 weeks after their first defeat. This time, they sent 500 ships. The massive fleet filled the space between Earth and Mars, their hulls modified with new shielding technology designed to resist human weapons. Admiral Stone watched them from the underground command center beneath the Pacific Ocean. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of every ship, both Imperial and human. "They learned from their last defeat," Stone observed. "Their formation is different, more flexible, and their numbers are much larger," Officer James added. "They've also added some kind of jamming field. Our quantum pulses aren't working this time." Stone smiled slightly. "Good. They're learning. Now it's our turn to show them something new." He pressed a button on his command console. "All units, execute Operation Scattered Thunder." Across Earth's solar system, hidden bases activated. But these weren't ships launching into space. Instead, thousands of small objects began moving, each one barely larger than a basketball. "Imperial fleet is advancing," James reported. "They're being more cautious this time." "Let them come," Stone said. "Active the drones." The small objects suddenly accelerated, each one powered by an experimental fusion drive. They moved in complex patterns, too small and too numerous for Imperial targeting systems to track effectively. "What are these devices?" The Imperial commander's voice crackled through the communication system. "They carry no weapons." "You're right," Stone replied. "They're not weapons, they're doors." At his signal, each drone activated its primary system, a miniature wormhole generator. Thousands of tiny portals opened throughout the Imperial fleet. Through each portal came human soldiers in advanced combat suits, appearing inside Imperial ships. "Ground teams reporting success," James announced. "We have boarding parties on 60% of their vessels." The Imperial fleet's perfect formation broke apart as ships began experiencing internal chaos. They had prepared for space combat, for improved shields, for human weapons. They hadn't prepared for their ships to be invaded from the inside. "This is impossible," the Imperial commander shouted. "No species has mastered personal wormhole technology." "We didn't master it," Stone explained calmly. "We just made it good enough for one specific purpose." "That's another thing about humans. We don't need perfect solutions. We just need solutions that work." The battle transformed into hundreds of separate firefights inside Imperial vessels. Human soldiers, trained in zero-gravity combat and equipped with specialized weapons, moved through the ships like ghosts. They didn't try to capture entire vessels. They just needed to reach key systems. "Engineering sections secured on multiple vessels," James reported. "Propulsion systems are being disabled. Weapons going offline." Stone watched as the massive Imperial fleet became a collection of drifting hulks. The Empire's soldiers fought bravely, but they were trained for organized combat, for following strict protocols. The humans fought like their ancestors, adapting, improvising, surprising their enemies at every turn. Attention Imperial forces, Stone broadcast to all ships. Your vessels are disabled. Your crews are contained. Once again, we offer you the chance to retreat. The Imperial commander's response was immediate. The Empire does not retreat. Our main fleet approaches. 10,000 ships will arrive within days. You cannot stand against such power. 10,000 ships, Stone repeated thoughtfully. Thank you for the warning. He turned to James. Send word to Earth. It's time to activate the Jupiter defense grid. As human forces secured the defeated Imperial fleet, Stone thought about what was coming. The Empire was escalating, committing more and more of their forces to this fight. They still didn't understand what they were facing. Sir, James said quietly, estimates suggest their main fleet will arrive in 3 days. Stone nodded. Then we have 3 days to prepare our surprise. Send the order. Operation Dark Star is now active. Throughout the solar system, hidden facilities began powering up. Weapons that humanity had hoped never to use, defenses built for the darkest possible futures, all were awakening. The Empire thought they had seen humanity's best weapons. They were wrong. Send one last message to their command. Stone ordered. Tell them again, you should have run when we warned you. The battle was won, but the war was escalating. The Empire was about to learn another lesson about humanity. The more you push us, the more dangerous we become. The Empire's main fleet arrived exactly as predicted. 10,000 ships emerged from hyperspace near Jupiter, their massive forms blocking out the stars. At their center was the Imperial command ship, a vessel larger than any previously seen. 50 kilometers of advanced technology and weaponry. Admiral Stone stood in the new command center inside Jupiter's largest moon, Ganymede. Around him, hundreds of officers monitored screens showing the approaching armada. Their ships have been completely redesigned. Officer James reported. New shield configurations, better armor, improved weapons. They've adapted to everything we've shown them. Good, Stone said. That's exactly what we wanted them to do. He opened a channel to all human forces. Operation Dark Star is now active. All units proceed as planned. The Empire's fleet moved forward in a new formation, a sphere of ships protecting the command vessel. They had learned from their previous defeats, no longer presenting easy targets for human tactics. Imperial Commander is hailing us, James announced. The main screen showed the face of the Empire's supreme war leader, a being more machine than organic. This ends today, the war leader stated. You have forced us to take extreme measures. Surrender now, or we will destroy your entire solar system. Stone's reply was calm. We warned you to run. Everything that happens now is your choice. The war leader's mechanical eyes narrowed. All ships, open fire. Thousands of energy beams struck out at the human defenses around Jupiter, but instead of explosions, the beams simply vanished. Impossible, the war leader exclaimed. Nothing can absorb this much energy. We're not absorbing it, Stone explained. We're redirecting it. Thank you for powering up our defense grid. Across Jupiter's moons, hidden installations activated. The stolen energy from the Imperial weapons coursed through vast networks of quantum circuitry. What the Empire didn't know was that every attack they had launched in previous battles had been studied, analyzed, and prepared for. Execute Phase 2, Stone ordered. From the dark side of Jupiter, a new kind of ship emerged. Unlike previous human vessels, these were large, each one nearly the size of an Imperial cruiser. But their true power wasn't in their size. Combat systems online, James reported. The learning fleet is engaging. The new human ships moved in ways that defied normal space combat. They analyzed Imperial tactics in real time, predicted responses, and adapted their strategies moment by moment. Each vessel was controlled by an advanced AI that could make combat decisions thousands of times faster than any organic pilot. Their formations, they're impossible. The war leader shouted as his perfect sphere of ships began to break apart. The learning fleet didn't fight like normal ships. They fought like a living, evolving system. Every time the Empire adapted, the AI adapted faster. Every new Imperial tactic was countered before it could be fully deployed. Phase 3, Stone commanded. The energy collected from the Imperial weapons was released in a precisely calculated burst, not at the Empire's ships, but at space itself. Microseconds later, a massive gravitational wave rippled through the Imperial fleet. Ships tumbled out of formation as artificial gravity failed. Weapons misfired as targeting systems went haywire. The perfect sphere of Imperial power became a chaos of drifting vessels. You see, Stone addressed the war leader. We didn't just prepare to fight your current technology. We prepared to fight everything you might develop. Every time you attacked, we learned. Every weapon you used taught us something new. The learning fleet moved through the disabled Imperial ships like sharks through a school of fish. They didn't destroy. They disabled. They contained. They controlled. This is not possible. The war leader's voice had lost its confidence. We are the Empire. We cannot be defeated like this. You still don't understand, Stone replied. This isn't about your Empire's strength. This is about humanity's greatest power. We never stop learning, never stop adapting, never stop evolving. As the battle turned into a complete rout, Stone thought about the cost of victory. The Empire had forced humanity to reveal technologies they had hoped to keep hidden, weapons they had never wanted to use. Send word to Earth, he ordered. The Jupiter defense is successful, but warn them, this isn't over. The Empire will be back. Because that was another truth about humans. They knew that no victory was ever final, no enemy ever completely defeated. They would keep preparing, keep improving, keep evolving. The Empire was learning this lesson the hard way. The news of the Empire's defeat at Jupiter spread across galactic space like a shockwave. For the first time in 10,000 years, an Imperial main fleet had been defeated. The impossible had happened, and it had been done by a species that most of the galaxy hadn't even heard of a month ago. Admiral Stone stood before Earth's United Defense Council, delivering his report on the aftermath of the Jupiter battle. The Empire is in chaos, he explained, pointing to the galactic map. Their rigid command structure was never designed to handle defeat. 17 Imperial worlds have already declared independence. Their economy is showing signs of collapse. The council chamber was silent as the implications sank in. On the main screen, reports kept coming in from human scout ships that had slipped into Imperial space. The mighty Empire was crumbling from within. Their war leader is demanding one final battle, Stone continued. But their own generals are refusing to commit more ships. They've lost 3 fleets to us already. Their best weapons proved useless. Their perfect strategies failed. General Roberts, head of the Defense Council, leaned forward. And what of our losses? Minimal, Stone replied. The learning fleet exceeded all expectations. The AI systems have already developed countermeasures for every weapon the Empire has shown us. We're actually stronger now than when the war began. A junior officer rushed into the chamber, holding a datapad. Sir, urgent transmission from the Empire's capital world. The main screen lit up, showing not a military commander, but a civilian, the head of the Imperial Senate. His blue skin was pale, his cybernetic implants dim. People of Earth, the Senate leader began, his voice carrying none of the Empire's usual arrogance. We request an immediate ceasefire and the opening of diplomatic channels. Stone noticed something in the background of the transmission. Crowds of Imperial citizens protesting in the streets of their capital. Signs in various alien languages demanded peace, called for military reform, questioned the Empire's leadership. The Empire is willing to acknowledge Earth's sovereign status, the Senate leader continued. We propose immediate peace talks. Stone glanced at General Roberts, who nodded slightly. "We are willing to talk," Stone replied. "But first, you need to understand something. We didn't want this war. We warned you. Everything that has happened was your choice." The Senate leader's expression showed something new. Shame. "Yes. We understand that now. Our military leadership has been removed. The war leader has been arrested. We are ready to listen." As the transmission ended, the council chamber erupted in discussion. Humanity had not just defeated the Empire's military. They had shaken the foundations of their entire society. "They're running scared," one council member observed. "No," Stone corrected. "They're finally learning. This is what we wanted, not to destroy them, but to make them understand." Reports continued to pour in from across Imperial space. The Empire's strict military doctrine was being questioned for the first time in millennia. Their belief in technological superiority had been shattered. Their assumption that bigger, more powerful ships would always win had been proven wrong. "Send word to the learning fleet," General Roberts ordered. "Maintain defensive positions, but do not advance further into Imperial space, and prepare a diplomatic team." As the council members filed out, Stone remained, studying the galactic map. The Empire's territory was vast, but now it was changing. New independent worlds, reformed systems, altered power structures, all because humanity had done what they did best: adapt, innovate, and overcome. "Sir," Officer James approached with another report. "Intelligence suggests the Empire has begun dismantling their forced integration programs on other worlds. They're completely restructuring their expansion policies." Stone nodded. "They're finally asking the right questions. Not, how do we conquer? But, should we conquer?" The Empire had started this conflict believing they were invincible. They had ended it learning that true strength comes not from power, but from the ability to change, to learn, to grow. "Prepare my ship," Stone ordered. "I'll lead the diplomatic team myself." Because that was the final lesson humanity needed to teach the Empire: how to turn enemies into allies, how to build rather than destroy, how to learn from mistakes rather than repeat them. The Empire had wanted to teach humanity their place in the galaxy. Instead, humanity had taught the Empire how to become better than they were. 1 year after the Battle of Jupiter, Admiral Stone stood on the observation deck of the newly built Galactic Peace Station. The massive structure orbited a neutral point between Earth and Imperial space, serving as a symbol of the new era that had begun. Below him, representatives from 100 worlds gathered for the signing of the Galactic Cooperation Treaty. The Empire's traditional blue-skinned delegates now sat as equals with humans and representatives from newly independent worlds. "Quite a change from our first meeting," a familiar voice said behind him. Stone turned to see former High Commander Rex, now serving as the Empire's chief diplomat. His cybernetic implants had been reduced, showing more of his natural features. "The best victories," Stone replied, "are the ones where everyone wins in the end." The main chamber of the station was filled with diverse species. Former Imperial worlds, now independent, were establishing trade routes with Earth. Human engineers worked alongside Imperial scientists, sharing knowledge and innovation. The learning fleet's AI systems were being adapted to help coordinate space traffic and prevent conflicts. "The old Empire would never have accepted this," Rex admitted. "We thought strength meant forcing others to obey. You showed us a different kind of strength." Stone watched as the new Imperial Senate leader approached the central podium. The leader's speech was being broadcast across thousands of worlds. 1 year ago, the Senate leader began, "We thought we were teaching humanity their place in the galaxy. Instead, humanity taught us that true power lies not in conquest, but in cooperation. Not in superiority, but in diversity. Not in rigid doctrine, but in the ability to adapt and grow." Officer James approached with a data pad. "Sir, the final reports from the reconstruction efforts. Every world that suffered damage in the conflict has been restored. The new trade routes are operating at 300% of projected capacity." Stone nodded, remembering the warning he had given in that first lunar meeting. Sometimes, he said to Rex, the best way to win a war is to turn it into peace. The station's AI system, a refined version of the learning fleet's combat computers, announced the beginning of the treaty signing ceremony. Leaders from Earth, the reformed empire, and the newly independent world stepped forward. "Did you know?" Rex asked quietly. "When you warned us to run, did you know it would end like this?" Stone thought back to that first meeting, to the holographic display of human history he had shown the Imperial delegation. "We knew that either you would learn to respect us, or we would teach you why you should have run. The choice was always yours." The treaty was more than just a peace agreement. It established new principles for galactic civilization: respect for independence, sharing of knowledge, mutual defense against true threats, and most importantly, the right of all species to develop in their own way. As the leaders signed the document, cheers erupted throughout the station. Centuries of imperial dominance had ended, replaced by something new, something better. "The learning fleet has been fully converted," James reported. "All combat systems reprogrammed for exploration and research. They're ready to begin mapping the unknown regions." Stone smiled. Humanity's greatest weapons have become tools for discovery. The AIs that had once outsmarted Imperial warships would now help find new worlds, new civilizations, new opportunities for growth. "There's so much we don't know about the galaxy," Rex observed. "So much we never bothered to explore because we were too focused on conquest." "That's another thing about humans," Stone replied. "We never stop asking questions, never stop exploring, never stop learning." The ceremony concluded with a symbolic gesture, the Imperial flag being lowered, replaced by the new banner of the Galactic Cooperation. It showed Earth and the former Imperial capital as equals, surrounded by stars representing independent worlds. "Your final report to the Defense Council is due," James reminded Stone. Stone looked out at the stars, thinking about how to sum up everything that had happened. Finally, he spoke. "Tell them this. We warned the Empire to run. They chose to fight. In defeating them, we taught them something better: how to stand together. The war is over. Now the real adventure begins." Because that was humanity's true strength, not just the ability to fight when necessary, but the wisdom to know when to stop fighting. Not just the power to win wars, but the vision to build peace. The Empire had never had war with humans before. Now they never would again.